Alright, this short video is on how to complete the trust application. The first page of the trust application is going to have the application instructions. And if you're not sure where to find the trust application, just go to heritageagent.com. It's a website for agents only. Click on the Trust Applications tab, scroll down, and you'll find the trust applications. Click on those forms and print them out. I'm not going to read through these instructions because you can do that on your own. However, what I'm going to recommend you do is fill out the application for yourself so you get familiar with the application. And I always recommend, if you can afford a trust for yourself, buy it, because nothing does more wonders for your business than owning the product which you're selling. Up on the right hand side it says allow 30 to 45 days for trust preparation. Let your client know they'll get their trust will be shipped within 45 days. Set the expectation up front so they're not calling you or calling us within the week saying, where's my trust? Okay, if you have a client that's in a life-threatening situation or is leaving the country for an extended amount of time and wants to get a trust before they leave, let us know in advance and we'll see if we can accommodate a rush for them. The rush is $100 additional, and if the client wants it overnighted, then it's $50 on top of that. Here's a trust application. You write down the date you're taking the application. Before I start, it tells you on top, if you need additional space, then attach a separate piece of paper, okay? Please don't crowd the application. It's concise for a particular reason because we want to keep it simple for the client up front, but do not crowd the application. So the date of the application is today's date. Citizens, yes or no, yes or no, correct? Husband's name, now if the husband is passed, just put deceased. Don't forget to put in the address. This happens quite often. If we have a deceased spouse, we have no address on the application. We need the address of the client. So if the wife is deceased, then you write deceased down here. Widowed, married, single, divorced, right? This is the county of residence, not the country of residence. It's the county in which they reside, and then their email address. It's very important for us to have an email address because after the trust is complete, Heritage will get in touch with the client by phone and by email. So please do get us an email address when you can. Date of birth, social security number, etc., phone number. Now, if the family or the client has minor children, put in the name of the guardian. If they do not have minor children, put NA in this box. Do not leave it blank. Successor trustees. These are the people that are going to sell the estate when they both pass, if it's a husband and wife. Put in their name, the relationship, son, daughter, aunt, uncle, friend, advisor, whatever. County, not country. Phone number. Choice 2. If they want to have more than 2 successor trustees, just attach a separate piece of paper and add third successor trustee. This is important now. Should the trustees serve jointly or in succession? Circle one of these. Should they serve together or one after the other? Understand, all joint successors must sign together, all right? What that means is if you're naming 2 people that need to sell their estate jointly, they both have to sign off on everything. And that could be a challenge if choice number 1 lives in New York and choice number 2 lives in Hawaii. So keep that in mind with your clients. We need to have the names of all their children, regardless of their age and regardless if they're receiving an inheritance or not. Okay? It's very important. The reason is we want to list all their children. So let's say they don't leave an inheritance to one of their children. The child that's not receiving their inheritance can't say my parents were, mentally incapable at that time. They didn't even know I existed. No, they knew you existed. You got nothing. Okay, so just be real clear about that. Distribution of the assets to the beneficiary. It can be either a dollar amount or percentage. Now this is limited space, so if you need more space, attach a separate piece of paper. Okay. Now, do these beneficiaries receive their inheritance at the death of the second spouse or when they reach a certain age? Should it be 25, 30, 35? They can leave their children a certain percentage of their estate at certain intervals in their life also. It's a flexible document. Then they're going to name a conservator alternate, a healthcare alternate, and an asset power alternate. I'm going to address one question. It's a very common question. What's the difference between a conservator and a healthcare alternate? Conservator will make the type of facility and long-term care that you will receive if your spouse had already deceased. So if you had Alzheimer's and had to be put into a facility, your conservator is going to make that decision. If you are ill and you need to have some kind of a medical decision made, this healthcare power of attorney will give the doctor the authorization to perform that procedure. That's the difference. And the asset power of attorney alternate. Can each spouse have different conservators, healthcare, and asset power of attorneys? Yes, they can. If so, spell it out and attach a separate page if more space is needed. Can they have different successor trustees? No. That's confusion. They can have the same successor trustees. They can have different conservator, healthcare, and asset power of attorney alternates, okay? They go ahead and they sign the bottom of the page. Then the next page, authorization to create trusts. This is where you, the independent agent, writes in your name. It's authorizing the person to go ahead and provide information to Heritage through you, and this is basically saying that you're not doing anything illegal, you're not practicing law, you're simply collecting information on behalf of Heritage. The client needs to initial on the second page, understanding that they have 72 hours after signing to cancel. The reason is we're creating a unique legal document for your client, and it has absolutely no value to anyone except the client, so there's no recourse to Heritage. So the client has 3 days to go ahead and change their mind. This only happens when an agent meets with an elderly client and does not consult their children. And after the children hear about this, they freak out and they'll go ahead and tell their parents to cancel it. So always make sure you involve all the decision makers before moving forward. That's the only time anybody ever cancels a Heritage Living Trust. And it's very rare when that happens. Maybe once, I'd say once a year, probably twice the most. You write your name in all these blank spaces. Down here, the amount that's being charged for the trust, today's date, their signature, their spouse signature, their email, any additional notes. Here's where you write your name, your phone number, and your email address. Next page that I've attached here is a credit card authorization. You fill that in, the client address where the bills are received, circle one of these or write what type of card it is, the card, the expiration date. Be sure that you're not going to provide us with an expired card. The 3 or 4 digit security code. American Express has a 4-digit security code. What type of product they're purchasing? Is it an A, B, ABC, AA Trust? The agent's name, your name, and the client signs here. Again, they understand they have 72 hours. Most of our business is paid by check. The next is by credit card. Then a very small percentage is paid by the installment plan. The installment plan, the client can go ahead and put down $900 at the time of purchase and make 2 payments for the balance within 90 days. Payment in full must be received before Heritage delivers the trust 30 to 45 days after the payment is received in full. That's got to be very clear about that. So if your client's buying a trust on January 1st and makes his last payment on March 31st, his trust will not be shipped until 45 days after March 31st. Okay? Everybody needs to be clear about that. Signature of the client, agent, etc., any special information. And understand, as an agent, you will not be compensated for this sale until the payment is received in full and has been posted to our account. It's a pretty simple thing. What I recommend you do is get familiar with these forms. They're on the Heritage Agent website, heritageagent.com. Click on the Trust Applications tab, print out the forms, and then go ahead and fill them out. And again, if you haven't gotten a trust for yourself, I recommend you do. It'll do wonders for your business.